This, everyone, is what we call the Bernoulli's equation. Bernoulli's equation states that the pressure plus some kinetic energy plus some potential energy in a moving fluid is basically constant. And what we can say is it is basically a direct application of first law of thermodynamics. In this Bernoulli's equation, we have three energies present. Number one is the pressure energy that comes from the pressure of the fluid. The next is the kinetic energy. Since the fluid is moving, it has a speed, then therefore it has kinetic energy. And lastly is the potential energy, which comes from the elevation of the fluid. Now, from first law of thermodynamics, we say that energy is conserved. And that is also the case for Bernoulli's equation. Bernoulli's equation says that the energy in a moving fluid along a streamline is constant. And those three energy, again, is the pressure energy, kinetic energy, and the potential energy. One of the most important idea in Bernoulli's equation is the inverse relationship between speed and pressure, and we will show that by using this sample problem right here. Let's say for example that we have a water that flows through a horizontal pipe with a cross-sectional area of 4 square meter at a speed of 5 meter per second with a pressure of 300 kilopascal, and that is at point 1 right here. At point B or point 2, the cross-sectional area is reduced to 2 square meter, and we are asked to find what is the speed of the water at point 2 and what will be the pressure at point 2. Now, we have the given of area 1, velocity 1, and pressure 1, which is 4 square meter, 5 meters per second, and 300 kilopascal. Now, we are going to apply Bernoulli's equation, but we don't have any elevation, therefore the potential energy will be equal to 0. And applying Bernoulli's equation, that will be pressure 1 plus rho over 2 times V1 squared is equal to P sub 2 plus rho over 2 times V2 squared. And applying some algebra right here and plugging all the values, what we will get is 300 kilopascal minus 37.5 kilopascal is equal now to 262.5 kilopascal. And that is basically pressure is decreased from 300 kilopascal from point 1 going down to 262.5 kilopascal. And now, what will happen to the speed? Now, using continuity equation, that is area 1 times V1 must be equal to area 2 times V2, and doing some algebra and plugging in all of the given, right, what we get is 10 meters per second. And therefore, from point 1 to point 2, pressure is decreased. And also, from point 1 to point 2, velocity is increasing. And that is the inverse relationship between velocity and pressure.
In slide 4, I will be discussing the work energy theorem applied to fluid volumes and how it leads to the Bernoulli's equation. Before discussing the Bernoulli's equation, we first need to understand the concept behind it, which is the work energy theorem. The work energy theorem states that the work done on a system is equal to the change in its kinetic energy. In fluid mechanics, this means that when forces act on a moving fluid, the fluid's velocity and energy can change. For example, imagine water flowing from an elevated water tank. Since the water starts at a higher elevation, it has potential energy. And while the water is flowing down at the pipe, some of that potential energy is converted to kinetic energy, causing the water to move faster. This is the basic idea of energy transformation in fluid flow. To analyze this process, we first define what we call a control volume. A control volume is simply the portion of the fluid system that we want to study. It could be a section of a pipe, a pump, or any part of the flow system. Within this control volume, we identify all the forces acting on the fluid. This includes pressure forces at the inlet, the pressure force at the outlet, and the effect of gravity. Once we identify these forces, we apply Newton's second law, which is net force is equal to mass times acceleration. We know that force causes acceleration. In fluid flow, pressure difference often create the force that makes the fluid flow. Example, itong papel na to, imagine natin siya na isang pipe, and kapag mas mataas yung pressure sa isang side and mas mababa yung pressure sa kabilang side, at kapag may dumaan na fluid doon dito sa pipe, yung fluid na yun is pupunta siya sa papunta sa mas mababang pressure. At yung pressure difference na yun is what drives the flow. After applying Newton's second law, we integrate the governing equation along the streamline. Through this process, we obtain an energy balance. Ang ibig sabihin nun, ang ibig sabihin nito, lahat ng energy sa fluid, whether pressure energy, kinetic energy, or potential energy, ay magkaka-connect or balance. So, the important thing to remember is that energy is not lost. Instead, it changes from one form to another. Example, kapag bumibilis yung fluid, tumataas ang kinetic energy nito. And since the total energy must remain conserved or constant or remain the same, that energy usually comes from a decrease in pressure energy or potential energy. This leads us to Bernoulli's equation. Bernoulli's equations tell us that the total mechanical energy of a fluid remains constant along a streamline under ideal condition. In simple terms, habang dumadaloy yung fluid, pwedeng mag-change ng form yung pressure energy, kinetic energy, at potential energy. Pero yung total energy nila or ng fluids must remain the same. Example, kapag itong pipe na ito at may dumadaloy na fluid or water and inipit natin yung kabilang side hanggang lumiit yung butas, mapapansin natin na mas bibilis yung daloy ng tubig dahil nangyayari dito dahil yung pressure energy ng tubig is nako-convert siya sa velocity or kinetic energy. And lagi nating tandaan na yung Bernoulli's equation comes from the principle of energy conservation. Now let's move to slide 5, derivation, Bernoulli's equation, and state-to-state analysis. So, itong slide nito is nagfo-focus siya sa derivation ng Bernoulli's equation and how it is applied to engineering analysis. Another way to derive Bernoulli's equation is through Euler's equation of motion. Euler's equation describes the motion of an ideal fluid, meaning a fluid with negligible viscosity and no significant friction losses. This equation relates pressure, forces, gravity, and acceleration. And kapag in-integrate natin yung equation na to along the streamline or along a streamline, we arrive at the Bernoulli's equation. This derivation confirms that pressure, velocity, and elevation are all forms of energy within a flowing fluid. Looking at the Bernoulli's equation, we can see three major terms. First, the first term represents the pressure energy. The second term represents kinetic energy due to the fluid's velocity. And the third term represents potential energy due to elevation. The relationship among these three terms is very important. For example, if the velocity increases, the pressure usually decreases. Ito yung dahilan kung bakit nagkakaroon ng pressure drop kapag yung hose, kagaya ng example natin kanina na kapag inipit mo yung kabilang side ng hose, nagkakaroon ng pressure drop. A practical example is venturimeter. As the pipe becomes narrower, the fluid velocity increases while the pressure decreases. Engineers use this pressure difference to determine the flow rate of the fluid. Next is state-to-state analysis. In engineering practices, we usually compare 2 points in a fluid system. The first point is called state 1 or the upstream. Dito natin kinukuha yung pressure, velocity, at elevation ng fluid bago siya dumaan sa system. The second point is called the state 2 or the downstream condition. Ito naman yung condition na paglagpas ng fluid sa system, paglagpas dumaan ng fluid sa system. By applying Bernoulli's equation between these two states, we can calculate the unknown values such as pressure, velocity, or height. For example, if we know the pressure and velocity at the inlet and we want to determine the pressure at the outlet, Bernoulli's equation allows us to solve for that unknown value. This is why Bernoulli's equation is widely used in the design of pipelines, pumps, water distribution systems, and other hydraulic applications.
So, punta tayo dito sa mga real-world applications ng Bernoulli's principles. So, meron tayong macro-scale energy, micro-scale, tsaka electrical engineering. So, sa part 1, sa mga macro-scale, ito yung mga malalaking projects, of course, alam natin. So, ito yung mga applications niya. Una sa water jet propulsion. High pressure is forced through a narrow nozzle, causing the water velocity to increase as pressure decreases. So, as stated nga kanina ni paring Louie, na-explain niya, na kapag yung water is pumapasok, ay kapag nag-i-increase yung velocity niya, nag-decrease yung pressure niya. So, this fast-moving water jet produces thrust that pushes the vehicle or system forward. This shows how fluid pressure energy can be converted to kinetic energy and mechanical work. So example ng mga water jet propulsions natin is jet skis, water jet boats, marine propulsion systems. So next is hydraulic turbines and hydropower. So water flowing through a penstock pipe gains kinetic energy as pressure drops. This high velocity water strikes turbine blades, converting fluid kinetic into rotational mechanical work to generate electricity. So mga hydraulic and turbines natin sa mga power plant. So centrifugal pumps. So isa ito sa na-encounter natin sa mga engineering problem. Rotating impeller blades add kinetic energy to the fluid as fluid exits into a wider volute casting. Velocity decreases and pressure rises, pumping fluid to higher pressure for distribution. Example natin is water supply system, HVAC, and industrial process. So last naman is carburetors and fuel injections. Air flowing to a venturi throat accelerates, creating low pressure. Atmospheric pressure pushes fuel into the low pressure zone, atomizing it for combustion, a direct Bernoulli application in engine design. So internal combustion engines is pre-nozzle. So madami pang example actually, pero isa ito sa mga pinaka basic examples na na-encounter natin sa uh, everyday. Okay? So madami pang iba. So ito lang yung mga isa sa example. So next naman natin is yung mga micro examples.
So dito, microscale instrumentation in diagnostics is, basahin ko lang yun. In these applications, Bernoulli's principle is intentionally exploited to measure the fluid properties and feed data into control systems with high precision. So gumagamit sila ng mga devices para i-feed yung data sa mga control systems. Tapos dito tayo sa venturimeter. Venturimeter, a pipe with a narrow throat causes fluid to accelerate. The pressure drop at the throat, measured by pressure tap, is directly related to the flow rate via Bernoulli's equation. So dito, may figure ako dito. So yung water na magpo-flow dito, merong mga tubig na aakyat. This point siguro, no? This point, tubig na rin. Tapos pagdating daw dito sa part na to, dito sa part, yung lumiit yung diameter ng tube is meron daw siyang pressure drop. So yung velocity mo is aakyat, then yung pressure mo is bababa. Tapos meron ding tubig na tataas dito. So yung difference ng dalawang to, delta H na yan, is related sa Bernoulli's equation. So yung pressure mo na galing dito, P1, tapos dito is P2. So yung pressure daw, derived na to. So sulat ko na lang. P1 minus P2 is equal to rho gravity times delta H. Derive lang yan sa Bernoulli's equation. So dito naman sa P2 tube, stagnates the flow at a small probe tip total pressure while measuring static pressure separately. The velocity is computed from ito na formula. Pero meron ding iba. Hindi ko yan inaanod. So punta tayo dito. So itong daw, meron tube, then may parang butas siya dito. Para lang siyang venturimeter, pero hindi siya gumagamit ng lumiliit na diameter ng tube. But lalagyan nila ang other tube dito, then pupunta nila sa center kasi sa center is Doon yung pinakamalakas yung fluid velocity. Then, parang ganun din lang sa Venturi meter. Dito, may akyat siyang tubig. Then dito is papasok yung tubig dito. Pag ganon. Then magkakaroon nga ng delta H dyan. So yung formula naman dyan na na-derive galing sa Bernoulli's equation is V1 is equal to square root of 2G delta H. Yan lang naman siya. Pag kukunin mo yung velocity ng fluid. So dito tayo sa orifice plate. A plate with a central hole forces fluid to accelerate through it. Differential pressure across the plate measures the volumetric flow rate, simpler and cheaper than a Venturi. So, pakita ko na lang yung figure niya. So, merong daw na water dito, no? Then, yung iba naman is papasok dito. Similarly, is dito. So, yung plate na yan is pwede siya mag-bulge like ganyan or ganun. Yun yung well, itong orifice plate kasi is sensitive sa pressure. So, ito is parang, di ba straight siya? Then, pwede siya magbengkong. Tapos, ngayon, makikita mo dun yung pressure na na-create dito. Okay, so lastly is flow nozzle. Converging nozzle accelerates flow, creating measurable differential pressures suitable for high velocity, high temperature flow where durability is critical. So, yun lamang naman yung part ko. Thank you po.
System. At magpapakita ako sa inyo ng mga example ng mga applications nito. So, ewan ko kung nakikita. Yan. So, dito nga, sinabi kanina na ito muna. So, ang pinaka ano nitong pitot tube is yung velocity mo ay yung flow ng water mo is nakasakto siya sa input nitong pipe na to. So, once na ay kapag tumataas yung velocity or yung input ng water dito, ewan ko kung nakikita yung mouse ko, pero ito sige. Kapag tumataas ay bumibilis yung water dito, yung velocity, mas tumataas naman itong nasa stagnation pressure. So, yung difference niya sa stagnation pressure tsaka yung static pressure is dun madedetermine kung gaano kabilis yung velocity dito. So, ganun din yung parang pinaka-idea nun is na-apply din sa airplane. So, ito, pitot tube to. And alam ko, may parang fluid din dito sa taas. So, kapag ang minimeasure niya naman dito is of course yung pasok ng air. Kung dito is yung pasok ng fluid, dito naman is yung pasok ng air. So, pag nakita natin yung mga, yung difference nung height ng fluid, malalaman natin kung gaano kabilis yung ah, intake ng air. Therefore, malalaman natin kung gaano kabilis yung airplane. So ito naman is sa mga application ng Venturi sa mga industrial plants, industrial na to. So laki niya, no? So unang minimeasure niya yung ah volumetric flow rate, yung flow rate ng water. So ang pinakasimple na example, of course, sa nozzle, na kapag yung water natin is lumalabas sa mas maliit na butas, mas bumibilis yung flow ng water. Tsaka parang mas naging laki yung pressure niya. So, ayun lang yung mga example ng mga um, dito sa micro ano. So, again, magbibigay ako ng um, isosolve. So, sabay-sabay natin isolve. So dito is yung sa macro scale na. Wait lang. Uy. And okay. So ito macro scale na to. So okay, let's solve. So an industrial cooling systems uses a pump to deliver cooling water at temperature of 30 degrees Celsius from an open cooling basin at atmospheric pressure na 101.3 kilopascal to a heat exchanger operating at 520 kilopascal. The heat exchanger is located 8 meters higher than the water level of the cooling basin. The required flow rate of the water is 7.5 liters per second. Calculate the required input power of the pump if the pump efficiency is 75%, assuming that fluid friction losses and changes in kinetic energy are negligible. So ano ba nga ba yung pinaka-formula natin ng uh, Bernoulli? So it is pressure A minus pressure B divided by density plus G, height ng A minus height ng B, all divided by all over gravitational constant plus velocity sa A squared minus velocity sa B squared over 2 dc. Dahil nga may pump tayo, mag-add tayo ng and tsaka yung work ng pump is equal to dahil nga nagle-level yung mga screen friction natin, equate lang natin to into 0. So sinabi dito na pati yung kinetic energy is negligible. So hindi na natin to isasama. So ito ay magiging 0 na lang. So una isulat natin yung mga given. So una sa given is yung temperature natin which is 30 degrees Celsius, or ito ay mag-add tayo ng plus 273.15. So ito ay magiging 303.15 Kelvin. Tama? So sa pressure 1 natin, makikita natin na sinabi dito na siya ay 101.3 kilopascal. So yan natin siya sa pascal. So times 10 raised to 3 pascal. And sa pressure 2 natin is 120 times 10 raised to 3 pascal. And ang Q natin, volumetric flow rate. So ang hinahanap is yung input power ng pump. So ang Q natin is 7.5 liter per second. So nakikita ba yung screen ko? So kita naman. So una, i-convert mo natin to cubic meter per second. So paano nga ba tayo mag-convert ng liter to cubic meter? So recall na sa isang cubic meter is meron tayong 1,000 liters. So therefore, ang magiging ano natin, volumetric flow rate natin is 0.0075 cubic meter per second. Tama? So next naman natin is yung hanapin is yung density at 303.15 Kelvin. So paano nga ba natin hanapin yon? Gagamitin natin yung binigay na di nakita. Binigay na table ni ma'am. Basta yun na yun. May table siyang binigay dito. So, hanapin natin yung pinakamalapit na temperature na given dito sa table, which is yung 302 tsaka 304. So, ang hanapin natin ito, which is yung 303.15. So, ang density, ito yung temperature, ito yung density. So, ang density nito is 995.948. Ito naman is hanapin and is 995.346. So using Caltech, using Caltech, magka-Caltech tayo which is yung kung nasa Canon kayo, so setup mode, 5 equation, equation tuloy, stat, 8 2 which is yung linear, tapos isulat na natin. Ito naka-ready na. Tapos kapag ano natin is yung apps, regression, 5 yung why not, tsaka isulat natin yung 303.15. So ang lumabas dito is ang density at this temperature will be 995.6019 kilogram per cubic meter. So, ayusin na natin. So, ito siya is equal to 995.6019 kilogram per cubic meter. Ngayon, pwede na natin siyang isolve. So, using this formula, ikakopy na lang natin. Copy. Paste. So, wala na itong velocities, ano? Kasi nga, negligible lang daw siya. Plus, and is equal to 0. And oo nga pala, na yung efficiency ng pump natin is 75% or 0.75. So, ilalapag na natin siya. So, PA is 101.3 times 10 raised to 3 minus 52, 520 times 10 raised to 3 divided by yung nakuha nating density which is 995.6019 plus 9.81 multiplied by sinabi ba dito? Yes. Yung ano nila, height difference nila. So, ang HA natin, ang inassume natin na HA dito is ito. Tama? Ito yung A natin, ito yung sa B. So, ang HA natin is 8, HB natin is 0, I think. Tama. So, dito, HA minus HB, so magiging ano na to, negative 8. Divided by, ang gravitational constant natin sa metric is 1 plus 0.75 ng work ng pump is equal to 0. So, by calculations, by algebra, so magiging ano siya, negative 420.5386 minus 78.48 plus 0.75 ng WP is equal to 0. So, ang 0.75 na work ng pump is equal to 499 wala nga 66.35 So, 499.0186. So, ang work ng pump natin should be equal to 665.3582 joules per kilogram. So, paano natin hanapin yung input power? So, ang ano natin na ang input power is equal to mass flow rate divided by WP. So, paano natin hanapin tong mass flow rate? So, recall na ang Q is equal to V over A. Tama ba? Mali. V is equal to Q over A, and ang Q is equal to mass flow rate divided by density. Tama, siguro. Hindi ko kabisado itong ito, pero ito kabisado ko. So, ang mass flow rate natin should be equal to Q is equal to V over A ba? Tama, V is equal to Q. So, M, mass flow rate is equal to Q multiplied by the density. So, recall na yung Q natin dito is to 0.0075 cubic meter per second. So, ito ay 0.0075 007 0075 multiplied by density, which is yung density is 995.6019. So, ang mass flow rate natin should be equal to 7.467 kilogram per second. So, dahil nakuha na natin yung ating mass flow rate, makukuha na natin yung input power ng pump. So, multiply lang natin, which is ang mass flow rate natin is 7.467 multiplied by WP, which is 665.3582. So, ang P natin is equal to 4.9683 kilowatts. So, ang P natin should be equal to 4.97 kilowatts. So, ito na yung answer natin sa problem na to. So, isa ito sa mga macro na problem. Siyempre, malalaki na yung mga equipment na to. And usually, hindi naman mas malalaki pa yung mga tank na ito. Ayan. So, ito, isa sa mga micro problem. Ito ay isang example dun sa pinakita ko kanina na pitot tube. So, a pitot static tube is used to measure nakikita pa ba? Check natin. Kita pa naman. A pitot static tube is used to measure a velocity of water flowing through a pipe. The manometer shows a difference in head of 8 centimeter of mercury. The density of water is 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter, and the density of the mercury is 13,600 kilogram per cubic meter. Assume that the coefficient of pitot tube is 0.97. So, ano nga ba yung formula natin ng pitot tube? We know that the velocity sa pitot tube is equal to Cp, which is coefficient of pitot. So, ito to, yung 0.97, multiplied by the square root of 2g delta H multiplied by delta M over delta minus 1. So, alamin natin yung given. So, ang given natin is yung delta H, yung difference in head, sabi dito 8 cm. So, para maging pare-pare sila, co-convert natin siya into meter. So, ang 8 cm is equal to 0.08 meter. Tama ba? Tama. And ang density daw ng water, H2O, is equal to 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter. The density ng mercury, Hg, is equal to 13,600 kilogram per cubic meter. So, pwede natin siyang salpak, tama. So, V, velocity is equal to coefficient ng pitot is given doon na 0.97. So, 2 multiplied by 9.81 multiplied by the difference in head, which is 0.08 multiplied by, ito ang palatandaan ko dito, yung mas mataas is yung nasa denominator. So, Ito yung 13,600 divided by 1,000 minus 1. So, upon calculation, ang velocity ng tubig, tama ba? Tubig yung in-order? Tama. Is 0.97 1.5696 multiplied by 12.6. So, ang V natin should be equal to 4.3137 meters per second. Or simply, ang V natin is 4.31 meters per second. Ayan. So, madali lang siya kasi sasalpak ka lang ng ano. Ang pinakamahirap lang talaga dito na part is, of course, kapag iba-iba na yung unit niya, so kailangan mo pa siyang ipunta sa tamang unit para solve mo. So next naman is sa Venturi. So dito sa nauna is Pitot, dito naman is Venturi. So a Venturi meter is installed in a horizontal pipeline to measure a discharge of water through it. The diameter of the main pipe is 120 millimeter. Ayun nga, kasi sabi ko, iba-iba yung mga unit na nakalagay. So 120 millimeter, while the diameter of the throat is 60 millimeter. A differential manometer connected between the inlet and throat shows a reading of 12 centimeter of mercury. The coefficient of Venturi is 0.98. The density of the water is 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter, and the density of the mercury is 13,600 kilogram per cubic meter. So, find the volumetric flow rate. So, sulat muna natin yung given or yung formula pala. Sige, formula muna. So, ang Q natin is equal to area 1, yung coefficient of Venturi muna, multiplied by area 1, multiplied area 2, divided by square root of area 1 squared minus area 2 squared, multiplied by the square root again ng 2G HM, o yung, again, yung delta H, yung difference in head. So, density M all over density minus 1. So, ang given natin, sinabi dito, na yung unang diameter natin, D1 is equal to 120 millimeter. Or, parang maging pare-pare silang lahat, is 0.12 meter. Ang diameter 2 naman natin, diameter 2 natin is 60 millimeter. Or, ito ay 0.06 meter. So, ang delta H natin, or HM, is equal to 12 centimeter. Or, pupunta natin again into meter, which is 0.12. Tama ba? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Tama. 12 meter. So, ang coefficient of pintura natin is 0.98. So, ang density, again, ang density ng water ay ng mercury, MHD, is 13,600 kilogram per cubic meter. So, ito kahit hindi given, dapat alam na natin na ang density ng mercury is 30,600 kilogram per cubic meter. Same din dito sa water, which is 1,000 kilogram per cubic meter. So, standard yung mga yan, ano, na kahit hindi given sa problem, dapat is alam natin. And dapat din, actually din, kapag wala namang binigay na density, so tatanggalin mo lang ito. Mawawala lang ito. Maging parang basta i-discard. Pero kapag mayroong given na density, is isasama natin siya. So natin, so ang Q is equal to, ang coefficient of CB natin is 0.98 multiplied by So, ano na to? Area 1. So, ang area 1, ang alam natin ng area is pi over 4 d squared. Tama. So, ang area 1 natin is pi over 4, 0.12 squared multiplied by pi over 4, 0.06 squared. Tapos, square root ng square root ng ito, compare na lang natin para hindi na magulo. Control C, Control V. Ito, Control C, Control V. Oops. Left. Control C, Control V. Yan. Pero ito is naka-square ulit. Squared, tapos naka-square ulit. Minus, tapos ito naka-square ulit. Di ba? Sheesh. Ngayon, dadagdag natin yung 2, 9.81. So, ang delta H natin is 0.12. 0.12 multiplied by, again, ang palatandaan ko dito kasi usually naman, yung nasa denominator is mas mataas. So, 2,600 divided by 1,000 minus 1. So, upon calculation, so ganito kahaba, usually hindi na kasya sa calculator. Ang ginagawa ko dito is, itong part na to is sinusolve ko muna, tapos after nun isusolve ko din to, tapos tsaka ko na pag-solve na parehas. So, meron na akong na-solve dito. Double check ko lang. Kung tama yung final answer. So the final answer should be 0.0156 cubic meter per second. So ayun lamang po. Next will be presented by, so balik na tayo. Sure. So the next part will be presented by none other than Mr. Siblag.
Now that we are done with the real-life applications of Bernoulli's principle, now we will discuss the importance of Bernoulli's principle in electrical engineering. So, although Bernoulli's principle is commonly associated with fluid mechanics, it also plays a significant role in many electrical engineering applications. Understanding fluid dynamics helps electrical engineers design systems that are efficient, reliable, and safe. So, why electrical engineer study fluid dynamics? First, thermal management in cooling systems. So, electrical components, it generates heat during operations. And those excessive heat can reduce the performance or damage equipments. Fans and blowers, which operate using principles related to Bernoulli's equation, moves air across sinks and electronic components. This is especially important in PCBs. PCBs, transformers, and server rooms, which proper airflow helps maintain safe operating temperatures, and also it improves the system reliability. Next one is the analog circuit design, fluid analogies. So, itong pangalawang ito ay Bernoulli's equation, it provides a useful comparison between the flow of fluid and the electrical current or the electrical flow sa isang circuit. In this analogy, yung pressure corresponds to voltage, flow rate corresponds to the current, resistance corresponds siya sa pipe restrictions. So itong mga similarities na to ay ginagamit or nagiging way para matulungan yung ating mga electrical engineer para mag-visualize and to better understand how electrical system behave. So yun yung bakit kasali yung analog circuit design. Pangatlo naman, sensors and transducers. So yung pangatlong application ay nag-involve na it involves the sensors and transducers. Many industrial instruments such as flow meters and pressure sensors are based on Bernoulli's principle. Electrical engineers use these devices in monitoring and control control systems. Understanding the underlying physics is essential for accurate calibration, signal processing, and data interpretation. The last one is power generation systems. Bernoulli's principle is important in power generation systems. It's hydroelectric plants, wind turbines, and gas turbines all rely on the conversion of fluid energy into electrical energy. Electrical engineers work directly with these systems to improve efficiency, reliability, and power output. Also, this makes Bernoulli's principle an important foundation for modern energy. So, in this right side, so more than 65% of world electricity from fluid-based turbines. So ito yung nabanggit kanina sa power generation systems natin, which is hydro, steam, and gas. Kung saan, gaya na sabi ko kanina, ay it converts the fluid energy to electrical energy. Degrees Celsius, Bernoulli-driven cooling gives component below critical temp thresholds. And also, one-to-one. Fluid dynamics is electricity's twin. You master one component or one of them, and the other becomes intuitive. So kung na-master mo yung isa, ganoon din yung isa. Kasi nga, sinasabi natin na twin sila. So overall, pinapakita lang dito na pag na-understand natin yung fluid behavior, hindi lang siya importante para sa mga mechanical systems since alam naman natin na Bernoulli's principle is more on in mechanical engineering, in fluid mechanics, fluid dynamics. But also, pwede rin siyang magamit sa mga areas for electrical engineering, from cooling and instrumentation to power generation and system designs. So yun, yung mga importance ng Bernoulli's equation sa electrical engineering. So, conclusion, 8 takeaways from Bernoulli's principle. So, Bernoulli's principle is a direct consequence of energy conservation. the total fluid energy, pressure plus kinetic plus potential, remains constant along a streamline. Velocity and pressure are inversely related, where fluid speeds up, volume drops, and vice versa. This is exploited in lift, flow measurement, and fluid control. A valid assumption, number three, valid assumptions in incompressible and viscid steady flow simply simplify real systems enough to produce accurate engineering predictions in most practical scenarios. Or from aircraft lift to hydroelectric turbines and to pitot tubes to circuit analogies, Bernoulli's equation touches nearly every branch of engineering, including electrical. So the equation is pressure plus 1 of density P squared plus density G H equals to constant. So, yun nga, as we conclude this presentation, sinasabi lang dito na Bernoulli's principle, it teaches us that energy in fluid system is conserved and continuously transformed between pressure energy, kinetic energy, and potential energy. That's the number one. And we have also seen how this principle explains the inverse relationship between velocity and pressure and how it is applied in real world engineering systems. Also, most importantly, its influence extends across many engineering fields, including electrical engineering, where it supports cooling systems, sensor technologies, circuit analogies, and power generation. Understanding Bernoulli's principle allows engineers to design systems that are more efficient, reliable, and practical for modern applications. Thank you.